So yeah, I thought I'd do a video on life during COVID, leaving university, and how that time of my life eventually led to me getting ill and being sectioned in hospital. I think that time around like 2020 to 2022, 2023 was possibly probably the most miserable time of my life. Like I've described university, so I'd extend university to that, and I'd even go as far back as college and the end of school. I think that's a time where my mental health seriously declined going into the adult world, and I just don't think, coming from me personally, I really had the right support when it comes to transitioning into the adult world, and it turned out to be quite a shit show at the end, where the lid blew off the pressure cooker in the end. But I think I'm going to go more specific in after leaving uni, COVID time, and probably end with me getting ill and my experience with that. As I've probably talked about the previous experience before COVID quite a bit already. So yeah, leaving university, got my degree, got a pretty good degree, second class. Didn't like university, didn't fit in to the culture and the sort of people in university, but ended up leaving. Didn't really have any connections, didn't really stay in contact with anyone because I just didn't have any mates. So it was a recipe. That's part of a recipe for disaster, really. And sometimes it's about what circles you're in when it comes to getting jobs. It's about what you know, not. I mean, it's about who you know, not what you know. If you know what I mean. So leaving uni, COVID. I'm someone that doesn't blame COVID for the way my life has turned out. Some people maybe to a level it's took an effect, but I don't blame COVID because I think my life would have probably been the same or very similar either way. As I was someone that I'm someone that doesn't really have any mates. A lot of mates probably have acquaintances that I push, but nobody close, no mates really. And I was just a very lonely person. I've got Asperger's, and I spent my days isolating in my bedroom, being depressed, thinking, now what can I do in my life? Probably lost all confidence, and just felt like everything was going wrong, basically. Sitting in the house watching YouTube, sitting in my bedroom, and at the time my dad was made, I don't know what you call it, but he was off work at the time. So he was spending a lot of time in the house, and the way my dad is we just, at the back then, especially when we're in the same house, we just didn't get on. Just had different opinions, different ideas about life, and my dad's stubborn, and I'm arguably just as stubborn, probably. My dad's a very difficult person, and it's just part of the pressure cooker, bit of a recipe for disaster. And there was a lot of falling out. Sometimes I couldn't handle it. Sometimes I kept my frustration and anger, kept it together, but sometimes it keeps pushing my buttons, and then I start lashing out and the police get involved and all During that time, I had a lot of experience with the police, which I don't think they help at all, really. And I just ultimately think I just didn't really have the right support. Nobody really knew how to help me. During that time, that was the first time I reached out for help for like depression, starting medication, which I don't think has done anything for me. It's probably done more harm than good, probably. And I just ultimately felt like I just didn't really have the right support. When it came to COVID, I don't think it was. I probably enjoyed some of it to a certain level because everyone was in the same boat as me, really. Staying in, not really doing anything, isolating. But it was a bit of an awkward time at the same time where it's your first experience out of education because my life has just been education. And until that time, and that's my first time out into the real world, the wilderness, to figure it out myself. And it's a scary time, it's overwhelming. And coming to the job market, it's probably for another video, but obviously there's not really a lot of jobs out there, and when it's COVID, there's probably even less jobs, so it's just not going to work out. And I've got a massive chip on my shoulder about this time because I think how it's turned out, how my life's turned out, what it led to, things could have been and should have been a lot different. It should have been done in a better way. Where I think I've got a bit of potential, like I've got a degree for one, but I just felt like I didn't really have any support, and I've criticised my parents quite a lot in previous videos. I think I'm going to save it for another video about my relationship with my parents, but when it comes to my dad especially, he just didn't really know how to support me, he didn't know how to help me. He thought the best way was putting pressure on me, try and rush me into the adult real world, and it proved to fail. It didn't work at the end of the day. And I just think I've got a massive chip on my shoulder because I think things should have been done better and could have been done better. Where I could actually had lived a normal, functional life if things were done better. But when you're someone who's got a few labels, like myself with Asperger's and all that, deemed vulnerable, mental health and all that, and I kind of thought it was a bit of a mistake to reach out for help. People get involved and think they know what's best for you and think, oh, it's got that label, you can go there, which sets you up to fail, go the opposite direction, go down the adult vulnerable class, you know what I mean? And it turns out to be a trap, like there's no getting out of it, there's no progressing from it. It seems where it's come to how my life's turned out with supported living, like I think this is probably it now, probably. If anything, it'll get worse than this. And yeah, I think things could be a lot worse. I'm in an okay area, I'm in an okay house. Support can be a bit annoying, I think, like I'm starting to get annoying, but there's some support workers who I like, they're nice people, but I'd rather have them as mates, not support workers, if you know what I mean. People who I probably would like to be mates with. The sort of people I needed. Because I think having mates, having a group of people, a circle of friends, just changes your retrospective of life. I don't know if that's the right word, but your outlook on life, and I think I was lacking that, like a group of mates, a group of good, positive people in my life. And that's why I became dysfunctional in life, where I just lost the plot, the pressure cooker blew off. And because I just didn't think I had the right support, people just didn't know how to support me. It was during a time when I was at school and stuff that I started to lose my mates, I started to lose contact with family members and mates and just everyone, and I think it feels like it was a whole recipe for that set me up to fail in life, be dysfunctional in life, if you know what I mean. But I think a lot of people blame it on the Asperger's, even myself to a level where that's the easy thing to blame it on, but ultimately I think it was just more than that. I just don't think I had the right support. I thought I was set up to fail, I think. Set up for the disabled, vulnerable adult life, and it's just a harsh reality of it. When it comes to my dad, I just don't think he handled stuff in the best way. He put pressure on me and a lot of arguing. My mum's soft as anything. And the the lid blew off the pressure cooker at the end. And I've ended up in hospital because of that, acting reckless, and I'm in supported living, and I think I just don't like how my life's turned out. In all honesty, I think a life of having support workers and deemed as vulnerable and not capable is a miserable, hopeless existence, in my opinion. It just is. It's the brutal, honest truth. Just don't fucking sugarcoat that, because some people sugarcoat it when it comes to that sort of stuff, and they just don't have a realistic point of view on it. But ultimately, I think it's a miserable existence. Could be a lot worse. It's not that bad. I'm in an okay area. Met some nice, lovely people during my time in support, but it's ultimately a miserable existence. I just don't want that to be forever, if you know what I mean. I just don't want I don't want my life to be that, and I think you get certain support workers that don't really, just not much use to me. They just don't really seem to get me, if you know what I mean, where they're just not very engaging. But then you got some nice ones as well. But yeah, when it comes to my parents, I love them to bits. I forgive my dad. I know he's not perfect and he's done some questionable things, but ultimately, deep down, I don't think he's a bad person. I think he tries to be good. And he seems to be doing some questionable things with the dog. The dog's basically my replacement, where the dog can't handle my dad, where he starts growling, where it was me in the past that couldn't handle my dad, where my dad's threatening to send the dog back to the dog place, which I'd think would be one of the cruelest things to do. So basically doing the same to the dog that he did to me, send me elsewhere because he can't fucking handle it. So ultimately, I think my dad's probably a bit fucked in the head, to be honest. Probably needs diagnosing with something. Well, yeah, that's going off topic a bit. And my mum, when I was a kid, she was ill. She was mentally ill. And there's times where I fucking hated her when I was at high school, when I was a teenager, but I don't anymore. She's better now, but it is what it is. I love her to bits. Same with my dad. Because I know they're probably just not bad people. They're good people where you've actually got we live in a world where there's actually real bad people out there. That's a topic for another video. Like, just we're not a perfect family, and I think things could have been done better and different. I should have been supported better into the adult world, not being deemed as vulnerable and disabled, losing potential, categorised into boxes. I don't think that helps, but the system don't seem to understand that. The system don't seem to help. They just don't. Sometimes they just do the complete opposite, and that's why I don't like the system. That's why I've got a gripe with the system, because I just don't think they understand how to help, to be honest, and I've lost faith with it. People like Keir Starmer, who's just everything wrong with the system, the society, elitists with power, just don't give a fuck and don't care. Where they've threatened to take Pip and all that away, because they just don't give a fuck. Maybe there's that right to try scheme that I think could be good, but that's a topic for another video. So yeah, I think this is a time of transitioning, and I just thought it was an epic fail. It's a shit show, and I just don't think it was done right. I think it could have been done a lot better, to be honest. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say about that. Catch you in another video. Goodbye.